Hello everybody, welcome to a HAPS Information Center provided by Professor Millward, the Science Tutor for the Christ College of Nursing and Health Sciences. This is for Biology 112 students who will be taking the HAPS exam. As always, this is just an information session. If you have any further questions, please reach out to the instructor of your course or your section to ensure that you have the proper information for that time and session that you will be taking. This is a general overall review. So the HAPS is a comprehensive exam and it's structured as follows. There's 100 multiple choice questions with 5 answer options each. We have no negatively styled questions, which means no if this or if that, those types of questions that will just end up confusing you. They're fairly straightforward, to the point. I won't say they're easy to understand because this is a comprehensive test, but if you have any difficulties, there is people there, your proctor will be there watching you so that you can ask, but they will not provide you with any answers. They will only help you with the technical aspect. There's a mixture of what we call lower order, knowledge and comprehension, and higher order application and analysis questions. So an example of a knowledge question, name the biggest leg bone. What would the osteocyte do? And then application, patient arrives at the ER with a fractured femur, da 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 da, those types of things. So we'll, when I do the practice exam questions with you guys, if you're watching this and I'm still doing it, then we'll go over some of those. The questions, of course, are mapped to HAPS modules and specific learning outcomes, and the instructors at the Christ College do plan their courses to meet most of those learning outcomes and modules. How the exam works. So the graded portion of the exam consists of 100 questions, all of which have been examined and tested for reliability. You may be one of the quote-unquote lucky students who has been asked to, or not even asked, you just get it happening to you. There may be up to 20 additional questions on this exam that are being examined for use for future HAPS exams. Those will not be included in your overall score. What they're doing is they're testing out the questions to see how student responses are going. Do we need to clarify something in the question itself? Were the answers not, were the students able to answer the question? Those types of things. So realize that sometimes you do 100, sometimes you'll do 105, but only the 100 questions that are actually part of the exam count. And you won't know which one may be the testing questions of the type. They just insert those in there. So, additional info. Is there a time limit? Yes, you only have 2 hours or 120 minutes. If you are going to have a requirement for extra time or have a learning plan set up that requires that, then your instructor will work with you and HAPS to get that happening. Yes, you can go back to any other previous question. What hardware requirements? You either have to have a Mac or Windows computer, and it has to have a working camera, a working speaker, and a working microphone. So please make sure that you have all of those working aspects prior to even registering, because if you don't, then you will have to work with your instructor to perhaps come to campus and access a computer on campus so that you have all 3 of those requirements. And you also need to be the administrator on the computer, because they will lock down that computer to ensure for academic honesty. So please be prepared. When you start to register for this test, then that information will come up at the time, and you will have to make sure that you have a plan set up. They will not accommodate if your power suddenly goes out or anything like that. So always have a plan B, so that if you know something's going to happen, that you can get somewhere and do that, because I don't think you can reschedule your exam unless under extenuating circumstances. So always be prepared. So what ends up happening is your instructor will send a list of students who are going to take the exam to HAPS, and then they will work with the online exam company ProctorU to set up the exam. So there's a time window that the exam will be offered, and the professor set that up with HAP, and then HAPS and ProctorU send you an email, and then you are allowed to schedule the exam time for one that works best for you and your schedule. And then when you actually take the exam, there will be a live proctor watching you through the computer camera take the exam. So be prepared for that. There will be a person watching you on your computer screen. And so there's all sorts of steps that you need to set up and take in preparation for the room. So there are requirements. You will receive this YouTube link, but I highly suggest once you get yourself scheduled and you know what day and time, prior to the start of that, you watch the YouTube video, you work through all of the requirements for your computer such that you are well prepared on the day you actually have to take the exam. So first and foremost, you have to have a strong internet connection. So if you know that that's a problem where you're planning on taking the exam, make a contingency plan. You have to have a private room. You cannot be in a public space because they will require you to have, as you see below that, a hard wall behind the exam taker, no windows or open spaces. There can be nothing on the wall. You will have to sit with your back to the door. You will have to have a flat surface like a desk or a table. You can't take this on your bed, your couch, or in your bathroom. That they will make you literally pick up your laptop and you scan the whole area where you will be taking the exam. And the person who's proctoring you will ask you to correct any material or requirements such that they are that they're accepting of your testing environment is going to be well prepared for you, and you cannot have anybody else in the room, including any type of children, and the room has to remain quiet and silent the whole time that you're taking the exam. So prepare for that. If you aren't able to meet those requirements, work with your instructor. HAPS can and with ProctorU will allow for some things to be relaxed depending upon situation by situation, but you need to work with your instructor and HAPS and ProctorU in order to make sure that that is well set up before you actually have to take your exam. So prepare your testing space before you're logging in to take the exam, because one of the first things you do after logging in and the proctor comes on, they make you scan the room, they do a photo ID check, they take your picture, they compare it to your photo ID. All of these steps need to be completed before you actually take the test. And so then the next question arises, what happens if something happens during your test taking? Well, the proctor is a human proctor, but they also have artificial intelligence. So if they expect something academically dishonest is happening, then they're going to, the live proctor will ask you to do something. So like you can't open up another browser window, you can't minimize your browser window while you're taking the test. People can't come in or out of the room while you're taking the test. They will note that, and then they will ask you to secure your space, or you will receive a pop-up on your window saying you can't do that, you can't open up another browser windows, so that type of things. If they feel that you have violated the academic honesty code, they will close the exam immediately, it will be terminated, and the instructor will be notified as such. And then the final thing to help you is here is an estimated breakdown of question distribution. So I aligned my HAPS reviews to meet up with these exam modules. So you'll see I had body plan and organization, which corresponds with chapter 1 for the current textbook at the Christ College. And then homeostasis, and then chemistry and cell biology. That was 2 different ones. So here's the estimated breakdown. There is the learning objective or the area of study, and then in brackets is the number of questions estimated on the test. There might be slight variations. Overall, the questions split out. About 43 of the questions cover material in Biology 111. 57 questions cover the material in Biology 112. Of note, 2 systems receive the most questions. Almost 1/4 of the test focuses on the nervous system and the cardiovascular system. And then looking at the numbers, the next most common ones are the respiratory system, fluid and electrolytes and acid-base balance, then the digestive system, endocrine system, muscular system, chemistry and cell biology, and working your way down from there. So as you're preparing for this test, please do go and use the review sessions that I put out on YouTube. You will have had the link by this point, and do try to prepare because they use this score to see how well you've done in A and P. It's not a pass-fail in this course. It does count as part of your 112 grade, but it's not a pass or fail in your 112 grade. And then they look at that to help determine how well you might possibly do on your HESI exams in nursing and how well you might possibly do on the NCLEX exam, because A&P is a foundation of knowledge that you will carry forth into your nursing and other science courses. So do treat this like a serious exam, like the SAT or the ACT, and do prepare for it. There is plenty of practice opportunities. There's videos out on YouTube, and just remember to relax, prepare your space, make sure you've had a good night's sleep, and eat something, because you're not allowed to leave the room. Even if you have to go to the bathroom, then they'll flag that. So hopefully this helps, guys. Take care.